Hey guys, it's ayebeepee and welcome back to my channel. I have my bachelor's in criminal justice and a minor in psychology, and I'm gonna say that for the next 67 videos because I'm just so proud of myself. I'm also a board member of a nonprofit called Voices for the Silenced, in which we help with missing person cases and the friends and family to get them resources that they would need to help for the search of their loved one. Our big thing right now has been billboards, but we also help with social media presence, being the middleman for law enforcement and the families, fundraising, and just honestly anything we can think to do to help you guys. If you have a missing loved one, please get a hold of us and we'll do what we can. And today we are here with another talking CJ. And as you can tell, Molly is with us today and Jack is a little bit off the screen once again. And I really wanted to go over all the amendments in the Bill of Rights because as Americans, we should know these, especially because a lot of us have our own interpretation in our head. And let's be honest, part of it could be wrong. And the way we're going to kick off this mini series inside of a series on this channel is by the good old First Amendment. And let's just be honest, since COVID at least, not many people know exactly what the First Amendment is. They think they do, but there's a lot of bullshit that's happened in the last few years that the First Amendment was used as an excuse for that just was inexcusable. So let's just get right in. We're going to start with the history of the First Amendment being formed. On December 15th, 1791 is when this amendment was adopted into the Bill of Rights. Thomas Jefferson was the first to talk about separation of church and state. When people started asking him why he was not proclaiming religious days or holidays, and his answer was that there needed to be a difference between people's religion and what the government was doing. That way it was equal for everybody. And at this point, we were working on making the Constitution, and the Founding Fathers was very set in stone at the fact that they needed an amendment that covered the topics that the First Amendment does before they could get on board at all. And before the last few years, I guess, this was one of the only things within the government that wasn't seen as left-wing or right-wing. Like I said, until pretty much COVID times, this amendment really helped out both sides of the argument. And this was and still is one of the only things in the government that is literally for everyone. And like I said, until lately, this is one of the things that was seen as a core American belief. And we celebrated being able to freely speak, practice religion, protesting, and all of this. So it is a little bit of a weird time right now to be going over this amendment, but it's also why I think it's so important. So what exactly is the First Amendment? It is thought to be the most important because it's supposed to protect your freedoms of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. It prevents the government from making laws that can suppress your religious beliefs, speech, press, assembly, and petition. And there is no legal age that the First Amendment becomes your right. Practically from birth, you're covered under this amendment. So let's go over the language on how the First Amendment is written. The First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And you can kind of break this up into two different clauses. The first one we're going to talk about is the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, which pretty much says America's not going to pick an official religion. It forbids federal, state, and local laws to be based around a certain religion, and this really helps you be protected whether you're Muslim, Christian, atheist, agnostic, Jewish, Catholic, anything like that. In this country, you're supposed to have all freedoms, no matter what you decide to practice religiously or spiritually. And then there's the free exercise clause. And this part protects you to be able to support, talk about, or practice anything within your religion. And you cannot be discriminated against because of it. And then there's the petition clause. And this helps protect your right to petition any branch or agency of the government that you think is fitting. It also protects your right to assembly. So let's break this down even further. Let's go over just the freedom of speech part. Freedom of speech is the right to express yourself without fear of government interference. And when this was made, it was in the thought that this is the most important thing for the discovery of truth and the rejection of falsehood. And we are supposed to have the free and public expression without fear of being censored or have interference from the government or restraint by the government. The government is not supposed to be able to arrest you for your opinion, and they're not supposed to do anything to you that would cause you to be in fear of expressing your opinion. Congress is not supposed to pass anything that diminishes your freedom of speech, and it's supposed to encourage public discussion. There are a few exceptions of the First Amendment, and that's obscenities, true threats, talking about committing a crime, and defamation. And if someone's being accused of violating someone's freedom of speech, those cases are really taken by a case-by-case basis. And another part of the freedom of speech I want to cover is political speech. You can support or oppose any political figure or policy that you want to. If your speech is political at all, it is completely covered under the First Amendment. Now let's go over the freedom of press. This protects writers and speakers as average citizens when it comes to freedom of speech. It's supposed to protect you from a government establishment punishing you for your opinion being out on the internet, newspapers, on the news, any type of publication. But it does only protect from government retaliation. People and organizations, businesses, any type of entity like that you're talking about can retaliate as they see fit. This is thought to be very important in the First Amendment because this is supposed to be able to keep information as unbiased as possible, because you're supposed to be able to look up both sides of an argument easily, and that way our press is not filtered. And of course there are limitations if it's just completely defamatory that you're releasing, but that's pretty much the only exception for the freedom of press. Now let's go over the freedom of religion. This protects your right to be able to have, to practice, to study any religion that they choose in this country. It protects that your state will not choose a religion for you, like where I'm from, West Virginia, can't just decide that everyone in West Virginia is Christian, no matter what they think they can do. And it's supposed to demand that our country is not supposed to have any interest in just one religion. And government is supposed to be completely neutral no matter what you decide to study. And this also protects that we are able to have any opinion that we want on other religions also. It also protects the freedom of anti-religious press, and our country cannot pass laws or do anything that encourages prohibiting religious practices. And this part of the First Amendment is a big reason a lot of of people came from other countries to America. Now let's go over the right to peacefully assemble. It protects your right to gather in a group of like-minded social, economic, political, or religious purposes. Things that we saw in this country was protesting taxes, civil rights, voting rights, and even wars. Now, the assembly cannot be violent. You're not supposed to be intentionally hurting people, destroying property, and the government officials aren't supposed to be going in trying to repress what you're saying either, unless there was fear of imminent danger or danger that was happening around them. And you're allowed to gather as marches, rallies, and just any other forms of protest under this part of the First Amendment. And last but not least, the right to petition. This is actually the least known part of the First Amendment, but it is crucial to our society and government. Petition is the right to ask the government to relook at something and demand for a problem to be corrected. In this country, we are free to sign petitions, and we have the right to file lawsuits against the government if we feel they are doing something wrong. And that is all I have for the First Amendment. The First Amendment is one we throw around so much, but there's a lot of parts to it that I just don't feel that everyone knows every bit of. This one has been misinterpreted quite a bit lately, so I'm glad we got to sit down and discuss it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe for me, and hit that notification button. That way you're notified the next time I upload. I still have a GoFundMe going for Crystal Young. If you haven't already, please go watch her video and figure out why her mom needs this PI so bad. And I still have stickers for sale. They're $2 each, and all proceeds go to the Cold Case Foundation, so it is for a good cause. And thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!